there's a damn owl or a hawk sitting on the flag. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Golf Test Dummy, the channel where I use my game to help your game. Today, as promised, I'm going to be out on course. I'm going to film every shot, and I'm going to make the 1 hour special. Never done that before. I have filmed every shot a few times before. It's not easy. The catch is that we had tons and tons of rain all morning, all afternoon, and all day yesterday. My God, I need a four-wheeler to get around. As a result, the entire front nine of this always wet golf course is shut down. So you can see some of the water as I'm passing by here. Jeez, man, I imagine it's going to be really soggy. But as a result of that, we are only going to be able to play the back nine. So this is going to be every shot of a 9-hole vlog. I would just play it again and make it 18, but I think there's probably going to be a backup on some of these boxes with the people coming in, because the weather is supposed to be nice today. And when they come in and you know, it's only 9 holes, they're all going to be trying to play the same 9 twice. So I'll be really fortunate to get through this 9 today. So it's just going to be a 9-hole vlog, but it's going to be 1 hour, and it's going to be every shot. I'm going to talk you through some of my club selections, some of my strategies, how I'm going to play some of these holes. This first hole we're starting out with is a par 5, and generally speaking, I never go for par 5s in 2 just because I can't. I don't have the length to get there most of the time. I'm going to be keeping with my fairways, my greens, and my putts. If I have any penalty strokes, I'll note those. Hopefully there's none of those. And I'm not going to explain every single last shot, but I am going to try and tell you about this beginning par 5, some par 4s, and some par 3s, and some different shot selections. So this is 490 yards, soaking absolute wet. I've been normally hitting my 3-wood off the tee, but I'm going to hit driver off of this tee today because I need to get some practice in on course with this new driver. I've got the Srixon ZX5 with a Ventus regular shaft set at 10.5 degrees, standard setting. And I've got to try and dial this in. So whereas normally I might hit a 3-wood off of this tee, I believe I would rather hit the driver just to try and get some strokes in. Okay, there's a tree off in the distance, nothing fancy, just pipe it down the middle, about 400 yards, right? No, just put it down the middle and try to make good solid contact. Wow. Well, that's dry. It did go way left into some trees. That is not the tee shot that I was hoping for in the beginning. Felt like I struck it well, just really fired it left. Man. All right, so it's important to have a plan. Doesn't matter if it's 9 holes, 18 holes, or if it's just 1 hole. It's important to get your head screwed on straight. So what does that mean for me? Well, one rule that I always try to apply to my entire life, and not just the golf course, is worry about the things you can control and don't give a lot of time and effort to the things that you can't. Try and take the small victories where I can. I don't want to make my goals about score. I really have no expectation of score. I don't want to. I'm going to try to avoid 3 putts. I really don't want to compound one mistake with another mistake. For instance, just had a really poor shot here. I'm behind some trees. I don't want to try and overreach and come out here and try and pull off some superhero shot and then compound that mistake. So I'm going to try and play it smart to get myself back out in the fairway. It's a par 5. I've got plenty of of time on this hole to get things to go back on track. So I'm not going to overreach, and there are lots of trees here, but I'm going to try and play the safest shot. Also today, because it is so soaking wet, look at this. Wow. Everything is wet out here. I'm playing lift, clean, and place today. Let's get into this shot. All right, so I've got a little bit of mud on this ball. I imagine I'm gonna have mud ball all day today. It's gonna be a very common thing. So definitely lift, clean, and place. This way goes toward the hole. There's a prison full of trees there. I could hit into that, maybe. I come out and I don't hit a single trunk, and I end up closer to the hole by maybe 60, 70 yards than I would if I went out this way, off to the right, where it's more wide open. However, there is a good chance that I'm gonna hit a tree if I take this line right here. There's also a hero line. You can't see it on camera, but here I could go over some really tall trees and hope that I get down there. That's trouble. Instead, I'm gonna be pitching out this way. Just got a gap wedge, gonna knock it down, maybe a little half shot. Just need solid contact with a half shot. And it's gonna go right out there and find the fairway. Just don't wanna get it too high or get crazy. I wanna picture my path coming into the ball here. Even got a little draw out of it. That is dead in the middle of the fairway. That's gonna give me a much more manageable shot for my third. I know you've heard this term plenty of times before. Course management. Now, I think that label is honestly not correct. I think it needs to have a different name. Jack Nicklaus was known for being an excellent player when it came to course management. However, course management to me are the people in the sheds over there with the lawnmowers and the grass seed and the broadcasters. They take care of course management. I can't do anything about this course. The fact that it is soaking wet, the fact that it's breezy, that any shot I hit is going to roll absolutely nowhere. I can't do anything about the temperature, the weather, the trees, the layout, where they cut the cups. I've got no say over any of that. So what I need is not course management. What I need is self-management. How I'm going to react. Let me sit you down here so you can see what I'm looking at. How am I going to interact and react to all of the things that are out here on the course? How am I going to manage myself? This is much more than I've got in the bag probably. Yeah, I've got 212 down to that blue flag. I don't really have a fantastic, reliable 212 yard shot. What I do have is a 6-iron that I'm fairly comfortable with, and I feel like I can get down there. I won't be close to the green, but I'll have a pitch. Now, I definitely don't want to go too far right. There's trees over there, but this is pretty wide open, and the place that I'm aiming at, there is no trouble. I'm not in trouble of getting close to that bunker. Again, don't do too much. I'm just laying up. There's no point in me trying to smoke this. I just need to make solid contact and let the club do the work. Just like that. Nice little draw. It went nowhere. It went nowhere after it hit the ground. It hit the ground and stopped cold. I will be surprised if that ball is a foot away from that plug mark. Anyway, back to it. That's my third shot. I've managed myself pretty well. You hit that big swooping hook of a tee shot and you go, oh man, now I'm behind these trees. Now I gotta get out and hit a miraculous shot from these trees in order to try and make birdie. Oh, get out of here with that. Really, A lot of us would do so much better if instead of chasing birdies, we would be trying to avoid doubles. So it's all about managing myself. The course managers, they're back there riding John Deere's. All right, I've got 73.5 to the flag. I know this green. That means that to the center of this green, based on where I feel like that flag is probably 66, 67. I know that it's gonna sit. It's not gonna roll. So we're looking at fly yardage here. And I wanna fly this, and I'm really a feel player, especially when I get inside of 100 yards. I play with feel. I've got my 60. That's not far enough. That is really short. Wow. That is soggy. Man, great divot, but man, that is super muddy. I'm gonna have to adjust to that. That came up so short. There was just no crispness on that at all. It felt like I was hitting a mud pie. All right, so I've got a 54 in my hand. This is a very tight lie. I need to pinch this ball. I could try using a putter, a Texas wedge. I could try using a hybrid, but I don't really feel comfortable with the hybrids, and I feel like with the putter being all roll, I'm much better at controlling the spot that I want to throw it to. I know this is not going to roll a whole lot. I know that it's on an upslope where I'm going to land it. I've got a 54. I'm going to pinch it. It should check. I'm going to fly it most of the way to the hole, but I'm not going to have it come out high. It's just going to be kind of a mid-trajectory shot. I just need to catch ball first. And that dug in. Came up a little bit short. My God, this turf. So I'll have that putt left for a bogey. Definitely not the start I was looking for. It's about a 13, 14 footer. It's going to have a little right to left break. It's really easy at this point to really go ahead on the first hole and feel down and feel like your round's already off to a bad start and you're ruined. I'm trying to make this putt. Ooh, went a little left on me. I'm already starting off with a double. It's real easy to have that double bogey hit you and go, well, that one of my goals is already ruined. I didn't want to have any doubles. And on the first hole, what do I come up with? A double. It'd be real easy to get negative and let that just kind of take hold and poison the rest of the day. That's where I've got to really knuckle down, have some discipline. And that's where all of us can improve, is trying to let that go. This hole's over. I'm on to another hole. Okay, this is a par 4. It's a shortish par 4, but there's a whole lot of standing water out here that is not normally here. Wherever I landed out there is probably going to be in some serious casual water. Maybe about 200 yards. I'm going to hit a 3 hybrid. Don't land in that casual water. All right, left it a little bit right of where I wanted it. This is probably about as dry as it's gonna get today. Spot that I'm on. There's a damn owl or a hawk sitting on the flag. Is it an eagle? Does that mean I'm gonna hole out for eagle? Or there it is. What is that? What does a hawk mean? What is a hawk? Is that a triple bogey? Damn it. Flag's 132, breeze into my face. I'd definitely rather be a little bit behind the flag than short. With that breeze and these conditions, I am going to club to an 8-iron. Now an 8-iron for me is a little bit scary from this distance because I know I can overcook it. So mentally, I need to prepare myself for that instinct that I have. And the instinct would be, oh, don't hit it and then quit on it. Nope, I need to make a full swing. And send it. a little thin, going a little left, and came up short. That is a poorly struck shot. Left myself short here. It's not going to be an awful chip, but I can tell you that the lie is going to be really soupy and muddy. Well, we're not going to chip. We are actually going to putt. This is not ideal at all. There is no grass here. It is soupy, wet, sloppy mud. If I try to use a wedge here, it's odds are I'm either going to chunk it short or I'm going to try and compensate for that, and I'm going to blade it over the green. Now I'm going up a pretty steep hill here with the putter. Then of course it levels out and becomes a decent green. So this is not what I would call an ideal situation. I'm just going to have to try and do damage control here, make the best of it, try and get it up there within a 4 or 5 foot circle and make par. It is going to move a little bit right to left. The main thing is punching it through this to navigate and not having so much speed once it breaks free of all this junk, not having so much speed that it rockets past the hole. But I definitely don't want to leave myself short to where it'll roll backward and get back in this and I've got the same shot over again. So I'd rather be a little long than a little short. But I feel like if I punch it and I feel like I'm just chipping it to the top of that hill, that might give me a fairly good speed. I've got my line picked out. I just want to give it a little pop. Yeah. The grass is completely matted down here. That grain is non-existent. This is essentially like putting on, I don't know, man. That's a treacherous putt. I don't know what that's like. That's like putting on jello. At the end of the round, I'll share my score and give you the fairways, the greens and rig, the putts, all that stuff. I'll do a wrap up at the end, but you know, 2 over through 2 because of that double bogey on the first hole, but a nice little par on that hole. Still don't know what hawk means when it's landed on the flag. What is that? It's short par 4 here. Oh, nice tee. Not a lot of trouble. Trouble is right. Getting behind those trees on the right is not good. I've been there. It's going to be hard for me to get it too far left into the trees over there. So I think I might cheat and go to the left center. Now, I could hit driver here. I could hit driver here and try to get a little more on it. But I think 3-wood is the safer play. Oh, and that one's leaking a little right. It's fine. It's not going to be in any trouble, but I left that one out right when I was trying to go a little left center. Struck it fairly well, but I'm okay. That's fine. From a strategy and decision making point of view, you know, it's not too bad so far. I think I've made, for the most part, the right choices. If I had to say what the challenging part has been at this point, what I need to try and work on, it's execution. Managing my expectations on the front side is something I can do to try and make my execution at least have a little bit of assistance and advantage. That's one of my big goals with my swing changes that I'm going through now, is to take my effort levels down. And I still feel the effort levels creeping up from time to time. Like if I was to do a 1 out of 10 on the effort level scale with that swing, it's probably more like a 5 or a 6, when it should be more in the 3 to 4 range. Well, so far today, I have not been given the best of lies a lot of times. Yellow flag means it's center. I've got 75 yards, wind into my face. I've got a bump on the front of the green. that I've got to carry. I've got to get it up over that bump. And I have a little bit of a backstop behind the pin, but not a lot. Not a lot of one. So 75 yards, I probably need to make that my number, honestly, because I don't think I'm going to get too much roll. I definitely don't want to be short. And I think I can be a little aggressive with this. So the main thing is this lie. It's just not, it's not very good, but 75 yards, I've got a 54 in my hand. This is gonna be like a three-quarter shot with this. I'll open it a little bit to kind of engage the bounce. Left it out right a little bit, but it's on the green, it's on the edge. It's a little deep and it's right edge. I'm gonna attribute that to the lie. The lie was stank. That damn hawk, what does that mean? This is a hard read. I think I'm gonna have to play it a little bit out to the right because of the beginning of this putt. But I don't think it's going to roll a lot. I don't think it's going to, the pace, I guess I should say, is not going to be very quick. And that just kept going right to left. I thought maybe it would come back a little bit at the end. Look at this. Look at this. Man, everywhere I go, every step, every footfall is just, I'm thinking I'm gonna have my feet come out from under me. I'm gonna slip and I'm gonna eat earth. All right, so on the card, it says 163. That should be to the middle of the green. And that's assuming that these tee markers are in their standard location, which I've got a fixed mark over here, tells me that it should be pretty close. I've got a blue flag that's in the back of the green. I know the size of this green basically. I think that flag, from what I can tell right here, is probably about 5-6 yards behind center. So let's see what we end up with. Now I've got the slope set on my rangefinder. 168. It's about right. It does go, there is a little drop in elevation, but not a lot. Now, normally, 168, that is a strong 7 or a smooth 6 with this set of clubs. These are traditional lofts. 7 is 34 degrees and a 6 is 30 degrees. So my 6 iron is a lot like my 7 iron out of my old set. Haven't quite gotten used to the yardages on these. What kind of conditions do I have here? What's going to affect this shot? Because this really needs to be dialed in. These really need to be given a lot more attention. People see, oh, par 3, this is an easy hole, just hit an iron, boom, you're good. These really need your attention. So with a 7 iron, I would have to hit a perfect shot and probably have a helping breeze. I think I have a little bit of a hurting breeze, and I'm never going to count on a perfectly struck shot. 168, I need to fly it probably 163 to be safe, center of the green. My 6 iron I know will give me probably 170 to 175 range, but that's with roll figured in. There's going to be no roll on this. So should I take the ego out of it, hit a 5 iron, or should I try to hit a 6 and hope that I get some roll? I'm going to hit a 5. That seems like a lot of club for this hole. It really does. But I don't want my ego to create a problem for me. Struck well, just hooking off the planet. Just hooking off the planet. And that looks like that's about the right distance. Breeze is now in my face. The breeze is kind of helping it hook. That is 30 yards left. Here's proof that I know that what I'm doing mentally is leading me in the right direction. On that tee box back there, everything inside of me was screaming, you shouldn't be hitting a 5-iron from 163 yards. You hit the ball further than that. Listen, you have to take everything into account, as I said. First of all, it was 163 yards of fly. You can't include the 10 yards of roll that you think you might get out of something when you're looking at total distance. You got to think about carry. 163 carry. It was into wind. It was not going to roll anywhere. It wasn't going to roll anywhere because of the soppy wet conditions. Now, I also said that the pin was at 168. Well, here's the flag. And there's my golf ball. I am almost pin high, which, by the way, I've got nowhere to sit this camera. You guys are going to have to get a side angle on this shot. So I actually flew it more like 167, and it hooked, and it was into wind. I chose the right club. This is just very much a feel shot for me. I could see the trajectory coming out from here. I can imagine it. I could see the height of it. Landed it a little shorter than I wanted. It stopped ice cold. Ice cold. This is not the putt that I wanted to try and save par. Let's just put it that way. Wow. That is insanely slow. That's not ideal. That puts me 3 over, out of position. Not where I want to be score-wise. It's not ideal, but I didn't set score goals, so I'm not going to get too butthurt about that. Have you guys ever seen No Country for Old Men? It's a great movie. It's just one of those movies where you sit quiet and you just watch and enjoy and let your brain work. But there's a character, the main character. Well, I don't know if he's the main character. He's one of the main characters. Ed Tom Bell, played by Tommy Lee Jones. He goes to visit his cousin Ellis. Let me hit this tee shot and then I'll tell you. Oh no. Did you hear that? I doubt my microphone picked that up. There is a very small metal roofed shed and I hit the wrong side of the roof and bounced it dead left. Oh man, that is unfortunate because I hit a pretty decent tee shot. Okay, anyway, back to No Country for Old Men. Ed Tom Bell is the sheriff in this tiny little West Texas town or county, I guess. And he goes to visit his cousin Ellis, who is in a wheelchair. He lives out in a shack in the middle of nowhere with a house full of cats, just feral cats running around. And you have to kind of glean some of the situation from their conversation and just observation. How many more shuns can I pack in? Anyway, apparently his cousin Ellis had been shot on duty before he retired as a sheriff's deputy, and he was most likely paralyzed and put into a wheelchair because he's in a wheelchair. Ed Tom Bell asks, did you hear about the guy who shot you, that he died? And he said, yep, he died in Angola prison. And he says, you ever think about what you would do if he had been released, if he had gotten out? I guess talking about revenge, maybe get some kind of justice. And he said, oh, I probably wouldn't have done nothing. Wouldn't have made any difference. Don't see the point in it. And I can't remember the exact words he used, but he said something to the effect of, When you go chasing it, chasing to be repaid or avenged or trying to get back what was taken from you, all you usually end up doing is giving them more of your attention, more of your time, more of your focus, more of your life. And they end up taking even more. And he said sometimes it's best to just put a tourniquet on it and stop the bleeding. Now that I'm out of position and I'm 3 over when I didn't want to be, I have to take that advice into account and not go chasing it. As I say, don't go chasing it. What am I doing? I'm looking at a shot that's behind some trees. The flag is 130 yards. There's no leaves on these trees, so if I get up near the top, odds are I'll have enough momentum to carry it through, and odds are I hopefully won't clip any branches, but I've got to get it up fairly high. So I'm going to take an extra club here. I'm going to hit a 9-iron and just try to hit it solid. This might not be that smart, I don't know. Oh baby, that is right at it. That's gotta be on the green really close. So there is a fine line between doing something that is overreaching and trying to do too much and, you know, doing the smart thing. I asked myself the question over that shot before I took it, you know, am I doing the smart thing or am I doing something stupid? I could have pitched out low to the right and then left myself basically the same length shot, but had a clear shot at it. Because truth be told, I could have hit one a little lower there, maybe clipped some branches, got a bad break, lost the ball, who knows? But you got to measure that. You got to know your own game. You got to know what you're capable of, and not just with your clubs, but in situations. The problem for me a lot of times is that I put myself in situations where I'm asking too much distance-wise of my clubs. And as a result, I'm underclubbing, swinging too hard, and I'm hitting the ball offline, and I'm not getting good contact. Holy crap. But then there are times when I kind of learn my lesson, and I hit shots like that. And by not chasing it and just letting it come to me, there's a birdie to help me get one back. All right, so this par 3, I've shot the flag already. The flag is a middle flag, and it's 179 yards away. On the card, the middle of the green says 187. So somebody's lying. The marker, the permanent marker, is back from this tee box a little bit. You kind of take their measurements at your own risk. The front side of this green is a false front. Anything that lands short, especially in this condition with this super soggy wetness, it's not making the green. It's going to plug or it's going to bounce backwards. Your landing in the middle of the green is kind of a nice bowl. So anything that's in the vicinity of the middle will tend to track and stay where it is. You don't have to worry about some weird bounces. You've got bunkers short on the right and short on the left. You've got woods to the left, where if you go left of the green, it's going to continue trundling down and probably go into the woods. If you go too far, once again, you're probably going back into some woods. Middle of the green is the absolute best place here. And the miss, if you're going to miss, is probably going to be short and right of that bunker. Leave yourself a pitch coming up onto it. So 180 yards, it's got to be carry though. There's not going to be any roll. We're not going to account for any roll. Now a 4-iron, I could probably play a 4-iron, but it's not going to fly 180. It might if I hit it just right. probably won't. The 3 hybrid that I have is probably too much club. Probably too much club, but I feel much better about the contact. Oh, and it struck really well. Perfect height, just left it outright. Oh man. Oh, it's a good strike. If that had been toward the hole, that would have been money all day. I just left it way outright. I don't know if I was aiming that way. That's a shame. I've got a decent lie. I've got probably, I'm gonna say about 22 to 25 yards here. I got my 60 degree, and this is, like I said, this is very much a feel shot. So when I stand here and look at it, I can see the trajectory of that ball going out, and out of the side of my eye, I can see the height. I can see the height. And then it just becomes about a toss. It becomes a throw. And if I was gonna pick this ball up and throw it to the right height, I would throw it about like that. So I have kind of the same intensity with this. I see my spot. Imagine the flight. Just like that. Man, that stopped well before the hole. I think I've got a depth perception problem here. Now that I see a ball on the green, I think I could have thrown it a lot further than that. I think I'm gonna be probably much further from the hole than I think. Let's go up here and check. I think this is fairly straight. It does go downhill a little bit. Good pace. Good pace. That is a bogey, giving back the birdie I just made. Can't get upset. Can't get upset. Now there's a whole other layer to this chasing it scenario, right? Because now I'm running out of holes. I had a birdie on the hole before this one, and I'm like, all right, that's great. That gets me back to 2 over. It gets me one of my shots back. Fantastic. But I end up bogeying the hole, giving that birdie right back. Now I'm back to 3 over, and I've only got 3 holes left to go. Now I'm running out of holes. Oh my God. I've got to make birdies now. And here's what's really, really bad about this part of the course. This par 4, even though it's wide open, is a 434-yard par 4. It's a long par 4. The next hole is back into wind, coming right alongside of it. It's about 410 yards. The next hole after that, the final hole on this 9-hole vlog, is going to be a par 5 dogleg left that's really long with a giant pond in front of the green. Your opportunities to make birdies now, well, let's just say they're severely lessened. So it takes even more discipline at this point to not try and chase lost strokes. Oh my good God, that just hit the ground. That is smashed. Effortlessly smashed. I just threw it up here and then whoo. No grabbing with the arms, no tension in the arms. Oh, it's high and straight. That might be 428 yards. I don't know. I might have just hit it on the green. Oh man, that feels fantastic. It's one of the reasons that I've been changing my swing and trying to get more effortless so that I can have more shots like that where I'm like, oh, that was effortless and it went so far, you know. But the other part of it is this is another reason why I went to go get custom fit for a driver. The last driver I had was not custom fit to me. It was the wrong shaft. I found out after my fitting for this one. It was an older technology that didn't quite have as much forgiveness. It was one of those clubs where if you found the sweet spot on it, it would perform really well. But if you miss it a little bit, you really paid a big price. I found that my dispersion when testing out this driver was much tighter, much better grouping. And I had a lot more of a one-way miss with this driver rather than a two-way miss. The old driver, I might snap hook it or I might block it dead right. With this one, unless I do something crazy with it, it almost always turns and falls to the left, which is my normal, standard, natural shot ever since I started playing golf. So, really happy with the results so far, and I can't hit a ball better than that. There's the pitch mark, there's the ball. Literally went nowhere. Oh my goodness, that is blasted right. Oh, and that's probably too much. Yikes. Did I make a strategic mistake there? I think I did. I think I should have played a 6-iron or a 5-iron down short of the green and left myself a pitch instead of trying to pull off the hero shot. Damn it. I think that's a mental error. I think that is bad strategy. So I had 198 yards. I needed something high. I needed it to carry almost 200 yards. Pulled out the hybrid off of the turf, which a lot of people think that is just a great club for them. It helps them. I am much more comfortable with irons off the turf. However, I knew that I couldn't get 4-iron there. Rather than just take the better play, I tried to force something there. I could have hit a 6-iron, left myself a 25, 30 yard pitch. It would have probably been a much higher percentage chance of making par, leaving myself a short pitch like that, rather than going out here in what looks like sloppy wet trash. Sorry to talk about your sister like that. And now I've got to scramble from a pretty bad position. That did not fall. Another bogey. The wind is blowing dead left to right. This is a par 4. It's over 400 yards. I believe on the card it's 410. When you land, it's not going anywhere. It is a soup fest the whole way up this fairway. This is not an easy hole, so I want to just put a driver in the fairway. Anywhere over 200 yards, honestly, is fine with me. Not my best swing, a little drawy, and that went nowhere when it hit. I think I caught that out on the toe. It's not really a good swing. But it's in play. I'm gonna try to just hit a 6-iron somewhere close to the green. It's a little thin. I was scared to get the club in that muddy, soupy water and splash it all over myself. All right, we'll have a pitch coming up into a little bit of breeze. Yep, good direction, or good length. Direction was a little off. Yep, gave myself a chance at a par. A chance. Oh boy, this green is soupy wet. Wow. All right, a little downhill, a little right to left, maybe right edge. Hey, and that's satisfying. That is rewarding, because when you think about laying up on a par 4, it's not exactly the best feeling in the world. Your head can get filled with all these thoughts of being less than a man, or you're not a good golfer, you shouldn't lay up on a par 4. But you got to play to your strengths, man. And my strengths are not 200-yard shots into the wind with an iron off of a soppy wet fairway. My strengths are trying to pitch the ball close and give a shot at a par putt. Okay, par 5. This is a dogleg left. This group of pine trees here, I believe. Yeah. Want to play to the right of those. Nothing fancy. Stock driver. All the fairway in the world. I got a really skinny lone pine tree there in the middle that's got no branches until about the top third. And I call that my aim and just go with that. Nice high draw. Going right back to that tree. Yeah. Perfect. I hate this hole. I think my hate for this hole is only rivaled by its utter disgust for me. So anytime I can get out of this hole with a par, it's like a double eagle. So there's a big pond down there that, you know, I'm probably not gonna reach it, but just in case, I'm gonna shoot this tree, 193, that's on the left-hand side. I don't wanna go past that yardage, but I don't wanna lay up too short because then I have a more intimidating shot coming into the green. I've got a 4-iron in my hand, and the reason being is that I feel more comfortable right now with this than I do with the hybrid. If I thin it, I'm still okay. It'll probably go a long way. If I hit it right or correctly, it should be okay. Yeah, that's really good. That was struck well. It was right down the middle. I could not ask for anything better here. If I have one wish, it's that I'll be inside of 150 yards coming into this green. Anything over that, gonna run a pretty big risk of kind of being out of my skill set to hit the green. And this is a tough one. I just want to put it somewhere on the green, get myself 2 putts for a par, and I'm telling you, that's like making eagle here for me on this hole. All right, moment of truth. Moment of truth. I've got to get it out of this wet stuff. It's just sopping. Wind blowing hard left to right. 140 yards. It's going to be all carry. This green is sloped back to front. It's all carry. Wind is blowing hard left to right. Normally, this is a 9. I'm using an 8. I'm using an 8. We're going to take an extra club. It's got to carry the whole way. Little left, but past the bunker. Oh Lord, that might be too deep. Oh crap! So not too bad. I'm a couple of yards past the flag. Mud ball again. It's all right. It's a tough little shot. Got to get it up. This green looks a little drier. This is just a little pop chip. I like that. Just pop it. Pick your spot and pop it. Got to roll out. Keep rolling. God. Left it shorter than I wanted to. Tricky par putt coming up. Looks like about 6 feet downhill, left to right. Man, this is not what I wanted for the par here. All right, it's gonna enter the clock face. If 6 is facing me, it's gonna enter at about 7 o'clock. See a dot to aim at. There you go. That's gotta be. Oh my God, you're kidding me. 2 inches short. Wow. Come on, man. 2 inches from a par. Take another bogey. Man, tell you what, it's a heartbreaker. Heartbreaker. Oh, man. I absolutely hate that about the 18th. I had a real shot, but I left myself past the hole with a downhill left to right chip with not a whole lot of green to work with. It's not where you want to be. The problem is you don't want to be short either, because, you know, there's a pond. You don't want to be too far right, because then you got a bunch of trees and pine needles in your way. There really is no good leave on that hole, hence why I hate it. All right, so I had to come back here to the lab, my fortress of solitude, my safe space, to record the end to this video. I want to wrap everything up, and I want to try and get all my thoughts together and share them with you guys here. So this was kind of a good and bad day for me in a couple of ways, but it was mostly good. And I want to go over the good things with you, and then at the end I'll share some things that I feel like I really need to focus in on and work on. I feel like I had a pretty clear vision of what I wanted to do today. None of my goals were based on score, even though at the end of the day, that's really what we seem to care most about is our score. It's how we measure ourselves. It's how we know if we're improving. It's how we determine if we've done a good job or a bad job on the golf course that day. But none of my goals for today were about score. I really didn't have a score in mind when I started. My goals were to try and keep a good positive mental attitude, which, I mean, I pretty much do that all the time anyway. I'm a happy guy. It takes a really bad day for me to have a bad day. Just say it like that. But my goals were I didn't want a 3-putt. I didn't want to have double and triple bogeys, even though the first hole took a double bogey. Went ahead and broke that little goal for me, which, you know, I was kind of proud of myself to not let that get me down. Even though normally it takes more than that to get me down. I mean, it can easily derail. I know it derails people all the time. You go out on the first hole and you hit one OB off the first tee, or you go out and you take a double or a triple bogey on the first hole and you're like, well, that's it. Round's ruined. Might as well go home. The rest of the day, you're just not in the right headspace. So the fact that I was actually able to do what I knew that I needed to do and drop that hole right where it's set and then go to the next hole and do that effectively upstairs I was pretty proud of that. I was also proud of the punch out that I had on the very first hole after that terrible tee shot, that I made a smart decision and then hit a good shot after that. The pitch shot leading into that green to try and get myself on and give myself a putt for par was short and not my best effort. Some of the problems that I had today, some of the challenges that I had to do with the conditions. The conditions were extremely poor. So I'm trying to give myself a little bit of a break and take it easy on myself. I don't want, horrid conditions like that to all of a sudden make me think that, oh, I've lost it, I've fallen off track and it's just all gone off the rails. It's not the case. I'm not going to let that happen to me. So, all in all, though, I think I did a lot of positive things today. I hit 5 out of 7 fairways, which if you took that to 18 holes would be 10 out of 14. What is that, like 70% or something like that? That's pretty great. And that with the new driver, you got to see a sneak peek of the driver today. I will be doing a full driver video with some on course and some in the simulator bay to do a review of the driver. The Strixon was a dark horse driver for me. I won't get into it here. I'll save that for later. That'll be for the driver video. But all in all, I feel like I did pretty well there. I had a few things that I need to work on. One of the reasons that I bought these new irons is to get consistency with my yardages and my flights. And I feel like now I've got a one-way miss instead of a two-way miss, which is great. And I do feel like I've gotten much more consistent yardages. However, today, it didn't translate into improved numbers. I only hit 2 of 9 greens. Now, maybe 1 or 2 of those greens I didn't miss by very much, but I need to get on the green in regulation more often. That has always been an issue for me. Not hitting enough greens in regulations means that I am constantly using my short game to try and save par. And You know, a lot of times I do. When my short game's decent, which is most times, you know, you can get up and down and save par, maybe more often than not. But you cannot continue to ask that much of your short game to save you every hole of every round. You just can't do that. You're not going to be able to pull it off. It's going to constantly let you down and leave you open to bogeys. So my short game today actually was not as good as it normally is. And a lot of that, I think, is because of the conditions. I think that if you took a ball and you threw it on the green, even the greens were so incredibly soaked that it was like throwing your ball into a bowl of pudding. It just plopped right there. It just sat. And I could not mentally make myself throw it all the way to the hole. I continued to drop it 10 and 12 and 20 feet short, thinking it was going to roll out. It was some kind of a mental block I just couldn't get past. That was a little bit frustrating for me because I knew, it's like before I stepped up to the ball, I said, okay, Chad, just try and throw it in the hole. The hole is your target. Just throw it in there. No roll. Just Air Jordan. Dunk it right there. And I just couldn't do it. I could not bring myself to push past that sort of false, invisible wall that was in front of me. That was a little bit frustrating. It left me longer putts than I'm used to, and I had 14 putts today. That's pretty average, but honestly, with that many greens being missed in my short game, normally that would probably be around 11 or 12 putts, because really when you miss the green by a little bit, if I can pitch it or chip it close enough to where I can one putt more often than not, it kind of counts as your first putt when you chip or pitch it. So 5 of 7 fairways, 2 of 9 greens, 14 putts. Now, one thing that really kind of disappointed me, and it shouldn't have because I didn't have it in my goals to begin with, was my score. I shot a 5 over par 41 today, which again, if you extrapolate that, do the math, never mind, I'll do it for you. 18 holes instead of 9 holes, 41 becomes 82, which is 10 over par. That is not where I want to be with my score at all. Some of that, it's fine. I'll unburden myself a little bit by saying, yep, it was, you know, some really terrible conditions out there. You know, don't let that enter your brain to think that that's your new normal. That's not normal. That was a very abnormal set of conditions for a golf course to play in. In retrospect, it was probably not the best day to film this, but when I set it all up, I had no idea that it was going to just constantly rain for 24 to 32 hours the day before and just soak everything up. That's why they closed the front 9 of that course. It was literally underwater. So the score was disappointing. I'm not happy with that at all. That is going the opposite way of the direction that I want to go. However, as I said in the beginning, my goal had no sort of anticipation of score. It had no thought of score. So I shouldn't be disappointed in it, but yet here I sit. Anyway, I think things could have been better, but overall, I think I'm pretty proud of the effort that I put out today. And this is the first video that I've made that is going to be an hour long, every shot, explaining all of these different shots. And this video is not for the algorithm. I'm sure I'm going to get bashed by the algorithm. The watch time on this, out of out of a whole hour long episode being 100%, people are going to be clicking off after 8, 9, 10 minutes, and it's really going to kill me in the algorithm. But this video is not for that. This video is for all of you guys out there who care and who support the channel and who have been here for a while now, or maybe the entire time, and who constantly leave comments and thumbs up, and you're engaging. This video is for you. It's a thank you letter to you guys. I wanted you to have something that showed you a little bit of insight, as I said before, like into my psychotic mind and how I move around and how I think and how my brain works. This is a thank you letter to you guys. So I really appreciate all the support. To hell with the algorithm. Share this around to family and friends. Throw it up on your social media. Go put it on your Instagram or your Facebook or your Twitter or whatever. I'm not on Twitter, not really on Facebook. I'm barely on Instagram. I don't do a lot of social media. That's probably one of the reasons why, I don't have 2 million subscribers right now like Rick Shields. But anyway, thanks you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. But I'm coming up on the 1 hour mark. So I've got to cut the video here soon, and we're going to make it 1 hour even. All right, 1 hour on the dot. 3, 2, 1,